All right, welcome back. This is going to be part 95 of my presentation on the flood of Noah's Ark. And this one here, guys, we're going to talk about the sons of God. I'm going to give you the two interpretations. I'm not going to really go into it real in depth. This may be something I might come back to in the future. It's a fascinating topic. It really is. But there is a debate amongst theologians on exactly who were they. But I'm going to give you both sides. If you guys want to further your study on your own, you can. It really is it's kind of a mystery exactly who they were. And I'm going to give you my opinion based upon what I've learned. I won't go through everything that I have seen in the past when researching into this. We're going to go through the scriptures, and I'm going to give you what the scriptures are saying here. This is when I was talking about some of those gray areas in the Bible. This is one of them. This is one of those gray areas, and so I'm just going to wait until I get some further knowledge in this. And who knows? I may not ever know until I get to heaven. And if the Lord reveals it then, if you'll notice on the screen here, I'm not going to go over all the verses that I went through before. If you guys want to go to Days of Noah Part 1, I actually go through 13 verses in Genesis chapter 6, but I'm just hitting the highlights here. We're just going to hit the areas that I got highlighted, and then go on to the next topic. But I won't be doing a second video with this one here. I'm just going to try to punch as much information that I can in this one here, and then we'll go on to the next area. But right here where it says the sons of God, I've got a verse, looks like it's verse 2 and verse 4. But it says that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And so the way it's flowing in this sentence here, they're separating the two. The sons of God saw the daughters of men. So there's two separation. So these individuals here seem to be something else than what we would consider the race of the human race, I guess you could say. It's at least the way it flows here. And then jumping down to 4, it says there were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown, the sons of Seth. They believed that these people were the sons of Seth. And in Genesis chapter 4, verses 25 and 26, it talks, you're getting when Adam and Eve started having children, they had two children, which was Cain and Abel. Now, not going into in depth on a lot of this, both of these sons brought an offering to the Lord. And Cain brought of the fruit of the earth. He brought like the vegetables and stuff of the garden. And Abel brought us an animal sacrifice. And God accepted Abel's, but he didn't accept Cain's. Now, I guess Cain just got jealous because of that, and he slew Abel and killed him. And so because of that, Cain was, a mark was put upon him, and God cursed him. And so they, if you'll notice right here on this top portion of this, it says that, and Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth, for God said, he hath appointed. But before God said, for God, she said, hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. Now, if you'll notice right beside it, appointed, I put Seth, because that's what Seth means. If you guys will remember several videos ago, I said that when names were given in the Bible, a lot of times it was because of an event or something that happened in someone's life, or maybe there was a personality about the child in general. But usually there was something that happened, so they would correlate the name to that event. And so she gave that name when she said that God hath appointed me another seed. That word appointed means Seth. Seth means to appoint. And so that's what she did. She gave that name of that child matched from what she was saying here. And so, and it says, and to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. And so the godly line, this is what you're seeing here. This line from Seth is what is going to eventually get us to Jesus. And so this family line here. And so this is where the sons of God, the godly line of Seth, is what they're saying that these sons of God were. And that these men, the daughters of men, is the ungodly side, which would have been the ungodly line of Cain, is what they're saying. And so now as far as Cain being cursed, I put that note down there at the bottom. Genesis chapter 4, verses 18 through 16, it says, Cain slew Abel and was cursed by God. And it says right there, and now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth. And of course, Cain said, he was telling God that this is too much. I can't handle this. And if someone finds me, they're going to kill me. And so God said, well, I'll mark you. He put some type of mark on Cain, and that can be debated what it is. And that way, anybody that saw Cain would say, hey, whoa, nobody's to kill him. God has already dealt with him, and we're just to leave him alone. And somebody might say, well, how do you know that? Whatever mark that was put upon Cain was that everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. And again, that is open to debate. The Bible is silent concerning that. I have no idea what that mark could be. And so now it says, one view understands the sons of God as descendants of Seth. In this interpretation, Seth's godly descendants were intoxicated by the beauty of women descended from Cain, thus marrying those who rejected God and leading to greater wickedness. The strongest evidence for this position is found in Genesis chapters 4 and 5, which describe two lines descend from Adam, one through Cain and the other through Seth. In the Old Testament, God's covenant people are sometimes referred to as God's sons, and then there's the references there, though the precise phrase sons of God is never used of them. If the Sethite view is correct, this could explain why God later forbade the Israelites from marrying the Canaanite women, and there's the references there. Now, I will say this just from my own Bible studies, that God forbade the marrying of the Canaanites because of their pagan practices, their pagan religious practices, and often those practices involved sexual practices. They were sexual in nature, and what these people did is because of these sexual practices, they would have babies, unwanted babies, though that would be considered the fruit of their worship. The fruit that came out of their worship, which was the sexual practices, was conceiving a child, and they would often they would sacrifice those children to pagan gods, Molech being one of them. They would literally burn these babies, guys, alive in the fires. And so absolutely an abomination. And that is the reason why, guys, that when the Lord sent the Israelites and gave them the land of Canaan, they told them to destroy every single person, man, child, and the woman. Now, I'm telling you right now, guys, and you think about that, even the children, they were told, there was something about the children. There was something about the children that God had to eliminate them. I don't know what it was, guys. Could it be that they had some type of disease? Well, I mean, I don't know. Was there some type of viral thing going on? I mean, they were told to kill the animals also. Now, bestiality was also practiced, where human beings would have sexual intercourse with animals. And it was forbade. It was forbade in the book of Leviticus, and the people were, and the animal were put to death. And these type of people were practicing these things. And so God said, I'm going to give you this land, and I want you to go in and just eliminate them all. And they didn't. They didn't. At first they were doing good, and then they didn't. As they were going in, and they were, in some areas, they would save some of the animals, or they didn't do what they were supposed to. They would end up saving some of the people. They didn't kill everybody that was told. And these people ended up becoming a thorn in the side, and they ended up doing exactly what God warned them that would happen, and caused them to practice the pagan religions that they did. And then God had to end up judging his own people because of that. And you can see that over and over and over again. They would do bad, and then they would do good, and they would do bad, and they would do good. And God's mercy, that's what really gets me about people who say that the God of the Old Testament is a God of vengeance and anger and all that stuff. No, they don't study their Bible. They have no clue what they're talking about. You can see God's mercy all through the Old Testament. And so, but this right here is is that first interpretation. That's what it is. Now, let's go to the second one. The second one is that these sons of God were angels, were fallen angels. And so I'm going to give you give you enough to at least start your own your research if you want to go any further into it. But this interpretation, most favored in ancient Judaism and the early church, and there's the references there, the phrase sons of God is clearly used elsewhere of angelic host in God's heavenly court. Moreover, the narrator seems to contrast man and the daughters of man, which I've stated before, and the sons of God in Genesis 6, 1 through 2. This position is not without difficulties. However, most substantial of which is the idea of fallen angels having physical relations with women. Scripture gives instances of angels engaging in human activities such as eating, and there's the verses there, but surely sexual intercourse is a step beyond. Jesus makes a similar point in Matthew 22:30, for in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like the angels in heaven. And so what was going on is there were some folks trying to trip Jesus up, and they were saying if this woman had as many as 4 or 5 husbands, when they get to heaven, whose wife is she going to be? And Jesus was pretty much telling them that they would be like the angels in heaven, and they wouldn't be married. There wouldn't be that union of marriage in heaven, is what they're saying. And so now, because of that, this is one of the reasons why people say that these sons of God that would have procreated with human women, it couldn't have happened because of this statement that Jesus said. But one of the arguments about that is that angels always appear as men. They always appear as men. And so, again, guys, the Bible is silent. It's silent on exactly, can angels procreate with human women? I don't know. But it does state that something happened. Something happened in Genesis 6, because out of those unions, giants came. We're going to talk about that again here in just a minute. Let's go through some more verses here, though. Now, talking about sons of God relating to angels in Job, chapter 1, verse 6, it says, "Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came amongst them." So the sons of God here are angels. They are angels. Job 38:7, "When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy." shouted for joy. The sons of God, again, being angels. When you take the word sons and you go into the concordance, one of the definitions can be the sons of God for angels, And so they're as far as the term, the sons of God, it has been used in the Old Testament to refer to angels. Now, in 2 Peter 2, 4 through 5, it says, "For God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly." Now, I will say this. It's funny that he's mentioning here, he's talking about that old world here. He's talking about the flood, but what happened right before the flood? These sons of God had some type of relation, had physical relations with the daughters of men. So what does it say here in Peter 1? The angels that sinned. What did they do? Could these actually be those angels that procreated with humans and caused the giants? Is that possible? Now going on, Jude 1, 6 through 7. "And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he had reserved in everlasting chains of under darkness until the judgment of the great day, even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire." Again, you've got these angels that did something. It says that they didn't keep their first estate. They didn't stay in the type of habitation that they were originally created for, but they left. They left that, and that they did something. They did something. Could that be these angels that decided to come down and to have relations with human women? Is that what's going on here? Is that possible? Again, I can only speculate, but it does say here that they're saying that even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh. So again, he's relating these angels into fornicating, into a sexual type of fornication, a sexual union, and going after strange flesh. Now, what is Sodom and Gomorrah is known for homosexuality. That's where we get that word sodomized from, is from that word Sodom. That's where they would call the homosexuals the Sodomites. The Sodomites. That's where they weren't. It's not. You're not going to see the word homosexual in the Bible. It's going to say sodomite. The Sodomites. Anytime you see sodomites, there's your homosexuals. But it says they went after strange flesh. So if a man is going after another man, it's strange flesh. It's not a man coming after a woman. A man coming after a woman, that's natural. That's a natural thing. But he's doing something different. He's doing something different. And could it be that these people in Sodom and Gomorrah were committing bestiality? If that's the case, then you've got that also. It's an unholy union. It's not natural. It's not God ordained, is what I'm saying. And so it seems to flow very good that the angels did something else, and it seems to be more in a sexual way, the way Jude is saying it. Because it says the angels did not keep their first estate, and then that second one, it says, even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. And so, again, it seems to work. It seems to work there. I can see it. Now, all right, let's stop right there. And guys, if you want to learn more, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will scan YouTube and see if I can find some videos by Chuck Missler. He did an outstanding series called The Return of the Nephilim. Now, this was a long time ago. He did this. But he goes into the sons of God, but he also goes into the alien topic, like the UFOs and stuff like that. And he agrees, along with myself and many others, that aliens are not from another world, that it's no more than, if it's not secret craft that man has made, that is no more than demonic deception. And so, but he does go into the sons of God topic a little bit, and a whole lot more in depth than what I did. And so, but if I can find that, I will attach it in the description below. And so, but if for some reason you don't see any there, I wasn't able to find anything. But just remember that series, Return of the Nephilim. Return of the Nephilim. Now, Chuck Missler is one of those guys that peels apart scripture. He'll take one scripture and make a whole series about one scripture. And so he's extremely knowledgeable when it comes to the Bible, but he gets into the down deep stuff, the go down deep, stay down long stuff. And extremely intelligent man. He is with the Lord now. And but one of the first tapes I got as a new Christian, the very first tape that I got was by Chuck Missler. It was called None of These Diseases. None of These Diseases. And so a message that he did. And I got that from the photographer that did my wife and I's wedding. And so he was a Christian and listened to a lot of Chuck Missler. And that was the very first tape that I got. And I still have that tape. And so that was way back in about 1993 is when because I've known this gentleman before. And so we had gotten up with him before we got married. And so, but 1993 is 1993, 1994, he gave me that tape. And so, boy, I listened to the far out of that thing. But at any rate, guys, just look in the description below and see if I have anything for you guys. But you guys take care. I love you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.